content marketing. What is content marketing? It's a big question. The way we define it at Content Marketing Institute is it is the creation, curation, distribution, promotion, and management of content really for altering or changing a consumer behavior. So it can be about putting content forward to tell a story to drive better brand awareness. It might be using content to educate for lead nurturing. It might be using content to create more loyalty, upsell, cross-sell opportunities. It might be using content to develop brand evangelism at the very bottom of the funnel. Its point is that we're using content that creates value to that customer, separate and discrete from the product or service that we offer, in order to drive a business or a profitable business action. The reason that we need to learn from other disciplines is because marketers right now are not very good at creating value through content. Marketers are traditionally extraordinarily good at describing value, using content to describe the value of the product or service that we're creating. What we're not very good at right now is creating value separate and discrete. In other words, using content and creating content as a separated value, a product, if you will. And so we can really learn from how to manage, create, distribute, promote content in a much better way from other disciplines, whether it's from product, whether it's from IT, whether it's from content strategy, the discipline of content strategy itself, whether it's from sales, quite frankly. We can learn so much from other disciplines because what we're really doing when we create a content marketing program, a content marketing approach, is we're creating a complete startup company almost, where we're creating content that creates that value with the consumer. And so we have so much to learn because we're not very good at it yet, because we're so inundated with having to create the content that describes the value of the product. So we're really good at headlines and A/B tests and features and benefits and unique value propositions and unique sales propositions. But content for content's sake, in other words, content that creates value separately, we're not terribly skilled at it yet. The one thing that our research tells us about what's the biggest problem or what's the biggest challenge that content marketers have today is that they don't have a documented strategy. That's what the research says. And so the next logical question is, okay, well, what is a documented strategy and why is that so important? And at its surface you say, okay, we need a documented strategy, but that's easy enough, right? That's, again, just creating content for content's sake. And so what we need to understand is that when we peel back the layer of that question a little bit about what is a documented strategy, what it really means is, what is our function, what is the process by which we scale, manage, and create this thing as a repeatable thing that we can do in our business? How is content a function in our business? That's what's missing right now. When you ask content marketers what their biggest challenge is, it's always measurement and trying to create enough content that engages and creating enough to feed the monster. Well, those three things are symptoms, right? The reason we feel like we can't create enough and the reason that we feel like we can't create content that engages is because we don't have a process that's smart about content strategy. The reason we can't measure it is because right now we're creating it in ever decreasing slivers of silos that aren't connected to each other. So what we're not doing is creating content strategy as a whole. We're creating content in what I'm calling small marketing, right? Marketing at the cubicle level, where we're marketing at social or at landing pages or at content white papers or in webinars. We're not creating a holistic content strategy that really encompasses the entire funnel. That's what's missing. So we call it a strategy. We call it something that we should write down. It is, and we should, but we should also learn how that strategy then translates into a process, a function in the business. Why is all content marketing not coming from the marketing department? It is such a great question because we often look at the content that's being created. I mean, businesses more broadly create so much content that is meant to communicate value to the customer. That can come through anything. You tell the wonderful story about technical documentation of a printer and how that is really a marketing piece, right? The help manual is really a marketing piece because why? Because it's creating the experience for the consumer. Anything that creates an experience for a consumer, and let's be honest, consumers can now interact with us at any stage of the funnel and have the expectation that they can communicate with us at any stage of the funnel. So opening up that product on Christmas Day and opening up the product manual, going into the website to try and get an FAQ, going into the website just more broadly and trying to find their way around, going into the marketing materials and trying to figure out why you're a little different, all of that is creating an experience for a consumer. And the more we can create better and fewer, quite frankly, experiences that are more impactful to consumers, the better off we are. The one piece of advice I would have for content and the way to manage and create more powerful consumer experiences with content, the easy answer is to say quality over quantity. And what I mean by that is it should be our goal to reduce the amount of content we actually produce. Because if we can reduce it to its highest impact level, where we can be really great at it, well then we can manage it, we can scale it. And where I see companies that really get it, working toward this goal, is when they de-silo the content itself. Not just in marketing, but from the organization as a whole. It's where content strategists can be the connective tissue that pull a content, a message, and a story and value throughout the entirety of the life cycle of content. I mean, we talk a lot about the content life cycle, right? But what we really look at in companies that don't get it are lots of little life cycles. Here's the life cycle for content and marketing, here's the life cycle for content and sales, here it is for product, and here it is for customer service. Great content strategy connects all of those things with a singular narrative.